Hey everyone, Rob Kelsall here, welcome back to my channel. In this review, I wanted to take a look at the two latest cabinets from Arcade1UP, the Marvel vs Capcom and the XMen vs Street Fighter. Which is best? Now, I did originally have Marvel vs Capcom on pre-order. I guess I did that just based on the artwork, but if you were picking the cabinets based on the games that come on them, which cabinet would you pick? So we're not going to look at the individual cabinets in this review, but we are going to take a look at each of the games in turn and come to a conclusion on which is the best cabinet based purely on the games they come with. So let's jump over to Walmart and Best Buy first of all. We'll take a look at the games that are included, and then I'm going to jump into each of the games in turn and do a quick review, remind you all what those games look like. Alright, so let's take a look at XMen vs Street Fighter first. This is available, it would appear, exclusively from Walmart right now. Sold out online. I've seen people posting on various Facebook groups. They are able to pick this up in store at various locations. It doesn't come with the stool like the Marvel vs Capcom does, but it is $100 cheaper. The games that it comes with, primarily the difference on this cabinet, you're going to get XMen Children of the Atom and XMen Mutant Apocalypse. Both cabinets do come with XMen vs Street Fighter and Marvel vs Capcom. Let's jump over to Best Buy where the Marvel vs Capcom is available. As I said, it's $100 more, but you are going to get this lovely little stool. So, you know, there's some additional value there, but the games are also different. You don't get either of the two X-Men games as you would expect, but you do get Marvel Superheroes, Marvel War of the Gems, and Marvel Superheroes vs Street Fighter, in addition to X-Men vs Street Fighter and Marvel vs Capcom that are on both cabinets. Now, artwork aside, you may have a preference for one cabinet or the other. I personally prefer the Marvel cabinet. Artwork aside, what do these games look like? What do they play like? And based on the games, which cabinet should you get? Let's take a look. So let's get straight into it with X-Men vs Street Fighter, available on both cabinets.
X-Men vs Street Fighter! This is X-Men vs Street Fighter!
So nice intro there, just get you warmed up, ready to start playing. As we can see here, good selection of characters from the X-Men franchise as well as original Street Fighter characters. And my daughter's going to be demonstrating some gameplay here for you. This will be the first time she's played any of these games, so it'll be interesting to see what she thinks too. So off to a good start here, fantastic game, super smooth gameplay, beyond your traditional one-on-one beat-em-up. You've got two-player tag team here, so it adds some extra depth into the gameplay. So good start for the X-Men franchise, but do keep in mind that this game is actually available on both cabinets. Next up, X-Men Children of the Atom. So again, we have a classic one-on-one beat-em-up. Clearly the characters here are a selection from the X-Men franchise only. So again, nice smooth gameplay here, pretty good graphics. Any X-Men fans are clearly going to want to play this through a few times with their favourite characters. So all in all, another good beat 'em up on this system. Next up, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Now you'll notice this is a Super Nintendo game, not an arcade game, so the graphics not quite as good, not quite as smooth. This is a sideways scrolling beat 'em up, doesn't have the depth that something like a Final Fight beat 'em up is going to have, but certainly if you're into X-Men, then you're going to probably find some value here. Personally, not a big fan of this game. And do excuse my daughter's poor gameplay here. This is the first time she's played this, so she's figuring out the buttons, but hopefully just gives you an idea of the gameplay at least. So that concludes the 3 X-Men games that are on this cabinet. The 4th game on here being Marvel vs Capcom. We'll obviously cover that later on in this review. But next, let's move on to Marvel's Superheroes, which is going to be the first game on the Marvel vs Capcom cabinet. So, as you would expect, good selection of characters here from the Marvel franchise. It's your classic one-on-one beat-em-up. One thing I would say with this game, if you compare this to, let's say the X-Men Children of the Atom game, there's only 1 year between the release of these two titles, but I just think this Marvel Superheroes, at least, is graphically a lot more impressive. So as you can see here, the background movement, the animation, the sprite movement, the fluidity, it just seems a little bit better than the X-Men Children of the Atom, even though there's only a year between the release of these two titles. Again, please excuse the gameplay here from my 9-year-old daughter. This is her first time playing it, but she's having a lot of fun helping with the review here for sure. So, good start to the Marvel vs Capcom cabinet. I really like this game. I do like the X-Men Children of the Atom as well, but I think this has the edge straight off the bat here on a straight comparison. Next up, we have the Super Nintendo title, Marvel War of the Gems. So it takes a little bit longer to get into these sideways scroller games. A few more options here to configure. Essentially, graphics are not going to be quite as good here. We're talking about a 16-bit home console versus a state-of-the-art 1995 arcade system. So not quite as sharp, but let's have a look how it plays. So as I said, this is more of your classic sideways scrolling beat 'em up. Just like we saw on the X-Men Mutant Apocalypse game, it doesn't really have the depth of something like a Final Fight. I personally don't really like this game, but I would say out of the two, this versus Mutant Apocalypse, both not very good games, to be honest. But I would favour this Marvel game, I think, if I had to choose. But you know, certainly Marvel fans out there, it's another game on the cabinet. Okay, so we've seen enough here, I think. Let's move on to Marvel Superheroes vs Street Fighter.
Through the levers, Capcom and Marvel have joined forces once again to bring you Marvel Superheroes vs Street Fighter. Welcome to the adventure. Choose your alter ego.
So again, here we have your classic arcade beat 'em up. This game introduces the concept of the tag team, so you select your two characters versus two characters CPU or an opponent. This was released in 1997, so you'll see straight away here superior graphics and audio.
Showtime. Ready. Fight.
So again, very crisp graphics here, smooth movement. You'll see, you know, the background has got some animation and movement as well as the foreground. Really is a lot of attention to detail here, considering when this game was produced. And for a first time playing this game, my daughter's really started to pick up the multi-hit combo move pretty quickly with the Chun-Li character here. So far, it seems this is certainly one of our favourite games of the game set on these two latest systems from Arcade1UP. Let's now move into our final game, Marvel vs Capcom. So I gotta say, I do like the variation of the character selection here. Obviously you've got characters from your Marvel franchise, but the Capcom characters here, you've got Street Fighter and characters like Mega Man, so I think this is just a cool character selection here on this game. And of course, continuing in the same format as Marvel Superheroes vs Street Fighter, this is again your 2-on-2 tag team style beat 'em up, so you select two characters as well as a third randomly selected special appearance type character.
Ready. Fight.
Released in 1998, so only a year later, but again I think you can see you know, an improvement in the graphics, the animation, particularly the background. There's a little bit more of a kind of a cartoon type animation here. I think it's really cool and really adds to the overall entertainment value of this game. I'd actually not really played this game much before doing this review, but in playing this with my daughter, we both really like the Strider character. Like I said, it's just a nice dynamic here with the additional Capcom franchise characters. Okay, so we've seen all 7 games across the 2 cabinets, but which should you buy? Of course, the 2 cabinets are different. If you had the space and the cash, the obvious choice is to buy both. The purpose of this review is, if you're picking one, which one should it be? If we look at the X-Men Vs Street Fighter cabinet, first of all, I have to say, as a game, Street Fighter is probably one of my all-time favourites, so just having the unique artwork to that game is a bonus for me. I really liked X-Men Children of the Atom, but I think if you compare it to Marvel Superheroes on the other machine, then I'd go with Marvel Superheroes. I also liked X-Men Vs Street Fighter. That is a fantastic game, but it is on both cabinets. So, with that said, if we look at the Marvel vs Capcom, the fact that it's got the X-Men vs Street Fighter, which is the best game on the Street Fighter cabinet, plus it has Marvel Superheroes, which is awesome in its own right, and of course Marvel vs Capcom, then I think we have a clear winner. But don't take my word for it, let's check with my co-host here. So Lily, out of the 7 games, what was your favourite game out of the review here?
The Marvel vs Street Fighter.
Okay, yeah, that's a good game. Why that game in particular?
Because it's fun and it has girls and I want them.
Okay, yeah, it's got some good characters on that one. It's a great game. So there you have it. Team Kelsall likes Marvel vs Capcom and X-Men vs Street Fighter. Both of these games being on the Marvel vs Capcom cabinet. Go buy it now. Thanks for watching.